Okay, so E3 starts in a couple of days, and I have a pretty good feeling that it's going to be pretty good, so I'm just going to run through sort of my predictions for each of the three main developers, of particularly Nintendo and the Project Café or Wii 2. Okay, so yeah, with Nintendo, obviously the big news is that they're going to be unveiling the successor to the Wii, and that's going to be a pretty big deal. And they'll also be talking about the 3DS, so they'll be elaborating on games that we saw last year, like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing and Paper Mario, but also Super Mario 3DS, which they announced back at the Game Developers Conference. And hopefully they'll announce some other new things for it as well, and also for the old Wii. We probably won't see too much of Ocarina of Time 3D though, as that's going to launch in a couple of weeks. But in terms of Sony, they're probably going to be the biggest competition to Nintendo, because they're going to be talking about their NGP, which personally I'm not really a fan of, but I could see how if you were a PlayStation fan you'd be excited about, so I think that's going to get a lot of media coverage as well. But in terms of Microsoft, even though the Xbox 360 launched like a year before the PS3 and Wii, they probably won't announce new console because the Kinect has done so well. Yeah, so they'll probably announce a few games and things, but I'm not really sure how they're going to be able to compete with Nintendo and Sony if they don't announce a new console. So anyway, there's been a lot of mock-ups going around for the Wii 2's controller, so I'm just going to do on my own now. Okay, so initially I thought it would look more like an iPad, just with a few buttons around the sides. But now, as more rumors have come around, it's probably going to look more like a sort of traditional controller. So, the main body and the hand grips. Yeah. Okay, so then obviously the biggest rumor is that there's going to be a touchscreen. Personally, I'd hope it would be more like a multi-touch display that you just use your hands for, because I think that would be like more comfortable when you're actually holding it. But if they do use a stylus like they do for the 3DS, I wouldn't really mind, because I actually find it quite comfortable on the 3DS. And speaking of which, it'll probably it might have start buttons in and select buttons in a similar location in relation to the screen, and also a home button. There's also likely to be a internal camera and potentially stereo speakers. Well, it would need at least one speaker if it was going to be backwards compatible with the Wii, unless you had to use the Wii remote. So then on the left there's going to be a analog stick and probably a D-pad as well, or a plus control pad, or whatever you want to call them. And on the right there'll be your standard A, B, X, Y buttons. And probably another analog stick. Then there'll probably be Nintendo branding or something. And in terms of the name of Stream, has probably been the most popular, and that's obviously because of the ability to stream content back and forth to the screen, and I'm going to go along with that. But that people might have even been thinking extreme, but stream, I'm sort of happy with that name. And I don't know if they'll just spell it normally or stylize it with the double I's, like in the Wii. But supposedly they want to recapture the hardcore audience, so the Wii sort of comes with that casual baggage. So supposedly you can take the remote with you somewhere, probably only in your house, and if you need to go away from the TV for a bit, you can still play it in the controller. So there'll be like a stream button or something, and there'll probably also be a power button. So yeah, that's sort of it for the controller. I don't really know what the console's gonna look like. I sort of picture it looking something like that. Oh, another reason it could be called Stream is because streams are blue because of the water, and the 3DS's main color was aqua blue, and aqua, water, the color. So if it was going to be related to blue, that would make a nice sort of connection, and it'll almost certainly have connectivity with the 3DS. You might even be able to use it as a controller. So yep, that's my thoughts about the Project Café. So thank you for watching and listening. It's going to be a great E3.